Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Welcome back to another I still have a cough, and thank goodness that the comment section hasn't been like riddled with people telling me to do something about my cough. You don't think I've been trying to do that? Anyway, for those of you not looking at the screen, apparently this is supposed to be some type of a really extravagantly crazy week. I'm not sure why, but a lot of the news continues to point in that direction for some reason. It says, will Bitcoin and Ethereum continue to diverge from the S&P 500? That's a very good question. Over the course of the last 2 years, we've relatively seen that wherever the stock markets around the world go, Bitcoin and the rest of the wider market seemingly follow it at the same exact pace, which is the first time in that 2-year period that this has actually happened. Normally, Bitcoin tends to move on its own, as does then the crystal currency, the rest of the cryptocurrency market. But for some reason, the last 2 years have seen a bit of a connection. However, Sentiment is stating that apparently there's been a bit of a divergence, and therefore this week apparently is going to be something spectacular to see if we can actually completely diverge, and then this will kind of confirm if Bitcoin is officially in a bullish trend. We've already gotten tons of numbers before in that. We have heard over the last couple of months, if Bitcoin stays above 18,000, it's in a bullish trend. If Bitcoin stays above 21,000, it's in a bullish trend. If Bitcoin goes to 27,000, it's in a bullish trend. If Bitcoin can break $30,000, we're in a bull run. If Bitcoin can stay above $31,000, we're in a bull run. If Bitcoin can go above 30, I mean, it's literally been like the entire way. So at this point, isn't Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin's up over or near 100% since the beginning of the year. Like, I think those are the actual numbers. So me personally, I would have just considered this entire year kind of having been some kind of a bull run in some sort of way. The most popular price news that we have today, of course, revolves around XRP. It says XRP will outperform Ether in the coming weeks. There's been a really weird, like, anti-Ether narrative in the last 3 or 4 weeks or so, price-wise. A lot of people are not impressed. They think that Ether should be doing a lot more. It's not moving high enough. Why isn't it moving at the same pace as Bitcoin or other altcoins? If you have had a chance to look at the charts, there have been certain days where Bitcoin's up by 4%. Ethereum is only then up by 0.5% and or 1%. There are a number of other altcoins who may be up by 7, 11%. Ethereum's only up by 1.5. This morning, XRP is one of the few altcoins that's actually up, and I was a little surprised at the movement in its price. It says XRP's price surges above 60 cents. It is nearing the top 4 crypto position. It has actually moved up even further than that. The last time I looked, it was at 66 or 67 cents. There's no exact news as to why the coin's price is moving up. I like to believe it has to do with people finally looked back at the news that we've been getting over the course of the last couple of years and finally realized that something was going on when we kept on hearing that this company was working with 30 different central banks. But alas, I digress. We also recently had news, like news. We've had news before in the past from Ripple that said that when companies are trying to buy XRP in general, now they have to do so on the open market. So no longer, as far as we know, no longer buying directly from the company when they unlock every single month their XRP. And we also had news recently, thus the from Uphold, who announced that they were going to be buying a significant amount of XRP. This could be the movement of it. Maybe we broke above 62 cents. a little bit too quickly because they bought a massive amount. Everyone saw that the purchase was happening. Everyone else has begun to buy as well. The $1 XRP predictions are all over the place. It seems completely logical at this point. We should be well over $1. Bitcoin should be well over $100,000. This isn't even a real discussion. Just based off of like metrics and things that we currently have going on, these coins should all be a lot higher in price. Same exact thing for XRP, especially after the momentum of the 2 lawsuit wins and all the, dozens of countries who are openly going to be using this as one of their main transactional methods. Litecoin is also surprisingly in the news. A lot of people, we don't see too much of this anymore. Litecoin tends to get more attention during a Bitcoin halving, as their halvings are, I think, always a year apart from each other. You might remember, I'm pretty sure you remember the commotion around Litecoin's halving over the course of this year and what's going to happen with the price. Really interesting. Like Litecoin continuously, like, I don't want to say like floats along, but it's a very strong legacy coin that continues to always like kind of do well. I think the previous all-time high for Litecoin, I believe, was $400 and something. So we will probably, logically, as we have before, see anywhere between an $800 to a $1,200 Litecoin, which also is kind of like, oh, that's weird, because you don't really expect to hear those numbers for Litecoin. I'm used to like a $27 Litecoin, maybe a $100 Litecoin, like if it's performing really well. A lot of the price predictions as well, and I'm not really sure how we got to this point. A lot of price predictions now from a number of different cryptocurrency websites are all doing this price prediction from 2023, there we go, to 2032. And that's a rather long span. We don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow, nonetheless next year, nonetheless the year 2032, but it seems to be a popular title for many of them to currently have right now. And that's where we're getting a lot of those, that thing I told you all about before. There's some, I don't remember who it was, some company or something like that, who made a Solana prediction for the year 2032. And I was like, that seems a little irresponsible, because no one knows what's going to happen next year or the year after that. Like you can't say economically that Solana is going to hit, I think they said, $2,000 or $3,000 or something like that, and it's just a little weird. Once again, maybe the significance being 2032 is meant to be like the snap year for the cryptocurrency space, as far as like the significant halvings. I told you about that before. We don't really have to go into it, but 2024, 2028, and 2032 are kind of meant to be like the hyper solidification or the hyper cryptofication, Bitcoinification of the world, and that like it solidifies itself. The inflation rate of Bitcoin, Litecoin, and all these other coins gets so low that people basically choose them as their form of currency. It says, will Bitcoin's price hit $39,000 by the end of November? Maybe, potentially. I see no reason as to why it couldn't. We constantly get, can Bitcoin do this in this month news? I know it's often a little difficult to kind of extrapolate and simply look forward and say like, hey, we are logically all waiting for the halving sometime in April. But a lot of times, as I mentioned before in another video, we have like really weird things per month in the cryptocurrency space. Like everything is something. And a lot of people are expecting very good positive news about ETFs in the coming weeks, actually, depending on which analyst you're currently looking at and or following. I've seen a couple of analysts discussing that they believe that there's going to be ETF approval at the beginning of February. I saw a couple say that doesn't make any sense. It looks like sometime in the beginning of January to start the new year, the SEC will, then say, okay, cool, these are the ETFs that are allowed. I saw a couple of people saying it'll happen before Christmas. And there are a number of analysts also, you literally get the point. No one knows what's going to happen. It's all hyper speculation. The number one thing that they're all rallying around is the idea that the SEC is going to say yes. I mean, if you look at the people on CNBC, a lot of them are, and I say this nicely, A lot of them are very slimy bankers who are also just trying to profit. But they're all saying the exact same thing. They're expecting a yay for multiple Bitcoin ETFs, and there's just a difference in what time they see it happening. So a lot of the speculation is that on the back of the expectation of a physical spot Bitcoin ETF, that Bitcoin's price this month would continue to rise. And should we get one, this is where we saw those $45,000, $50,000 Bitcoin price predictions for the end of this year. Should we have one spot Bitcoin ETF? And then we get into over 100,000 by next April if we have multiple. You kind of know the entire idea. But everyone's, speculating to see exactly where things could go. That's basically all the price news that we have right now. Nothing too insane. The most popular, I don't have multiple tabs here. It seems redundant. Was about XRP moving up, potentially being in the top 4 again. And should we get back into the top 4, we are going to hear speculation once again as to when it will enter the top 3. Should it enter the top 3, get ready, buddy boy, because if you've never been here for an Ethereum XRP tug of war, you are in for a dramatic treat because it is going to get real very, very fast. The people who like XRP really like XRP, and I mean at this point it's warranted. The company Ripple has basically done everything they said they were going to do, even with the roadblocks that the SEC has put in its place. But it feels like, this is me personally, it feels like things are kind of on the up and up. We are not at a $17,000 Bitcoin. We have not moved down to a $12,000 Bitcoin. As a number of analysts were saying, they were predicting like another massive collapse in the summer as the only way that we'd be able to recover in price. Yeah, this week feels special. I don't know in what way, but let's see if something good ends up taking place. That's all the price news that we have. And yeah, let's move on. Also, in very popular news, I didn't watch it, but I plan on watching it now. Apparently, the Simpsons, well known for making fun of things, actually had a Halloween episode where a portion of it was just making fun of NFTs. Apparently, they were showing Bored Apes and other things like that. I don't know what the episode is, as I haven't seen it, but apparently the premise is they go into a digital world, Bart gets lost, and Marge has to sift through NFTs looking for him. Sure, why not? I'm ready to watch it. Very popular news. We've had stuff like this before with The Simpsons for Bitcoin, for blockchain. There was something else. Something else in the cryptocurrency space also made it onto The Simpsons at one point. And years ago when this happened, a lot of people, and I appreciate the enthusiasm. A lot of people were really expecting cryptocurrency prices to skyrocket because it was on an episode of The Simpsons, and that's not really how things work. I think people may have more of a light understanding, and or they look more into the market, but skyrocketing, no. It even says on the screen NFT prices react. Apparently some of the what do you call it? Some of the NFTs that they made fun of, like the Bored Apes and stuff like that, apparently they actually went up a bit in price because I assume people saw it on the TV and then ended up buying some as well. So cool, very popular news today. Fantastic. I'll watch it sometime later on today. If I have nothing else to do, then I'll watch it. It's weird to think that this show is on season 7,000 and shows no signs of stopping. You know what's also really weird? What's that other show? Between American Dad, Family Guy, and South Park, if you look at how long they've all been on, it's oh my gosh, I just feel old. Anyway, that's the Simpsons NFT news, quite popular. Also, there's a lot of very popular news today. It's kind of all over the place. DZ Bank AG, the third largest bank in Germany by asset size, has launched their own digital asset custody platform built on blockchain. We had news quite often years ago, and it seems to have completely disappeared within the space, that around like 2020, we had news that there were hundreds of banks in the States and hundreds of banks. And for some reason, it was exclusively in Germany that we had this news. It wasn't news about France. It wasn't about Spain. It wasn't about Italy or Greece. For some reason, it was just about Germany. That hundreds of banks there as well were also gearing up and preparing to start like holding digital currencies as well. I guess because of everything that happened in 2020, there was like a bit of a slowdown, but now we see this like news once again popping back up about German banks specifically getting into the cryptocurrency space. So we've heard about, if you want to say it in English, it's DZ Bank AG getting into the cryptocurrency space, but I don't think we heard about them becoming a custody platform as well. According to the announcement published on the 2nd of November, the platform will be working with institutional clients as they always do, offering them crypto securities such as the crypto bond from Siemens, that is the company SIEMENS, with DZ Bank, which DZ Bank had subscribed to around 6 months ago. Holger Meffert, head of security services and digital custody at DZ, expressed the bank's interest in the distributed ledger technology. They said, "We assume that within the next 10 years, a significant portion of the capital market or businesses will be processed via distributed ledger technology-based infrastructures. In the medium term, we see DLT as a complementary technology to the established infrastructures in the existing capital market processes," end quote. Cool. They said that they're going to allow their customers to be able to buy cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. I think a lot of them have also finally received regulatory approval, so this also makes sense as well. Not the most exciting news, but this was also very popular. I'm still interested in figuring out how we got to this world where like banks owning, controlling, holding Bitcoin became like the celebrity news of the day. Like everyone's like flashing their cameras as the news goes by. But alas, here we are. I guess this is kind of the final step. We had issues before where everyone was like pretending that they hated our space, but now everyone's like actively, willingly trying to get into it as much as possible. I think we also heard before, I think Deutsche Bank is also in the cryptocurrency space, like actively in the cryptocurrency space as well, and they're trying to offer Bitcoin to their clients as well. It's like you walk in like, "Hey man, do you have any Bitcoin?" Like that kind of thing. So yeah, the world continues turning. Crypto continues to get bigger. A lot of people around the world continue to not pay attention to it as if it's like just going to disappear tomorrow. But yeah, that's the third largest bank in Germany is going to have a digital asset custody platform of their own. And also they're going to start offering cryptocurrencies to their customers in the future news. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in very, 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 very popular news. I get it, but it's not like, okay. Hong Kong's security regulator, the Securities and Futures Commission, or the SFC, may begin to allow retail investors, everyday normal people, to buy spot crypto ETFs. Bloomberg cited something from the SFC CEO, Julia Liang, writing that the regulator welcomes proposals using innovative technologies that improve efficiency and quality of customer service. They've basically announced that they are wary of approving a spot Bitcoin ETF that would allow normal people to actually get into it. A lot of times, and I think I understand, but it's also like a little bit like gatekeepy. A lot of countries and institutions tend to cater to the wealthiest first. I think that should come as no surprise. However, when it comes to owning a share in a company who has cryptocurrencies with them, this for some reason is like the big no-no. So they tend to only allow very wealthy individuals into these funds. And the idea is that if you want to allow normal people into it, you have to have a whole bunch of security measures in place to make sure that nothing can happen to their money. It doesn't seem like it would be hyper complex, but Maybe if I have never created an NFT before, an ETF before, and therefore maybe I just don't understand the actual complexity behind it. She said, "We're happy to give it a try as long as new risks are addressed. Our approach is consistent regardless of the asset. Although both the US and Hong Kong allow futures-based exchange-traded funds, their adoption has been relatively modest compared to the broader fund industry because nobody wants futures. Futures are based in US dollars. The idea is that, for those of you who don't know, and it is a very, very simple one, if you want Bitcoin, just go buy Bitcoin. Part of the problem is that if you have a US dollar based paper or digital version of Bitcoin, of what Bitcoin is supposed to be, something from futures or something from options or some other type of derivative, you are not holding Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes from 25,000 to 37,000 US dollars, well, guess what? You're not holding that Bitcoin. You didn't really profit. You profited simply in US dollars. It doesn't make any sense. So we've seen the amount of energy and wanting of futures go down quite significantly over the course of the last couple of years, because I'm pretty sure these companies realized, hey, we want Bitcoin and therefore we buy the Bitcoin ourselves. And this is why the idea of a spot Bitcoin ETF is attractive to larger institutions, because you would essentially, in essence, own that amount of Bitcoin that you actually have from the fund. Hong Kong currently has ETF listings such as the Samsung, the TV people, as the Samsung Bitcoin Futures Active, the CSOP Bitcoin Futures, and the CSOP Ether Futures, with a total combined asset value of $65 million, which is absolutely nothing compared to the market, without having to go any further. Yeah, very, very popular news. That they may have crypto ETFs and then therefore also allow normal people to get into them as well. Normal people getting into them is nearly nonsensical, because the ETF's value will basically mimic the price of the crypto that it's following. So you as a normal person would not have to buy shares in an ETF. You would simply, it's easier for you just to buy the actual crypto itself. Like, you can do it on crypto exchanges already. Like, you can buy like $10 a week, $10 a month of like 5 different coins. It's fairly simple, and it would mimic the actual fund, and you yourself would actually own the crypto. But alas, so cool. Hong Kong has moved very, very fast in their crypto regulation and adoption that we've seen just since the beginning of this year. So it's quite fascinating to see exactly how far they've come in a short period of time. Very popular news. We will, of course, be following it and getting it in the news. Should they allow a Bitcoin crypto ETF and then allow normal people to get into it as well? That's the Hong Kong crypto ETF news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in, I think this is supposed to scare you news. We've had news for, it feels like a century at this point. It's never ending. That FTX and allegedly also Alameda are bankrupt. They're broke. They have no money. We saw recently what happened to Sam Bankman-Fried. There are a lot of costs associated with all of these things. We heard before that FTX is or was bankrupt. They need money. They're trying to and have been liquidating funds for the better part of a year, give or take, to be able to pay all of these fees. So as people are extremely nosy, people have been following the wallet addresses from FTX. And I found out that they sold around $42 million worth of Solana. It was 1.1 million Solana tokens. And they sold around $12.9 million worth of ETH. It was 7,183 Ether. The problem is that these amounts are so low that they would not actually even move the market at all. What would move the market is if you have multiple different news websites telling that they're selling off these coins and therefore you should be afraid. $42 million in a, or even 19, 12, it doesn't matter. In like a multi-billion-dollar market does nothing to the actual price of the coin. It's simply the fear that websites can instill in other people to make them believe that this is a not that it's not a significant amount of money, but I'm talking comparatively to like 47 billion, $128 billion market cap, $500 billion market cap. This does absolutely nothing. We also know that, as I said before, that FTX has been selling these coins for a while now. We knew and know that FTX still holds a large amount of Solana, and that was the entire reason why the coin's price was actually going up over the course of the last couple of years. So very big news. Anything with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, constantly popular news. But yeah, we know that they're I don't even hold Solana, and this news is nonsensical. Like we know that they're selling. Like they have to sell. They have hundreds of millions of dollars in fees, and they also have to pay people back who were using their platform from before. So it logically makes sense that they would be selling these coins to recuperate some kind of funds to pay their lawyers. That's the popular FTX news as well. Also in, I guess, maybe popular news. So remember about 6-7 days ago, we had news that apparently the SEC is now annoyed and angry because they basically haven't won anything against Ripple. And therefore, what they're trying to do now is basically trying to not get a settlement, but like a, hey, pay this huge fine and then everything is okay between us kind of thing. And apparently the number that was thrown out there that we heard on the internet was that the SEC is now trying to get $770 million from Ripple, which seems completely not only nonsensical, but it seems like something that the SEC would do. They seem like those kind of people who would try and almost get $1 billion from someone or anyone after they've continued losing. The new news is that apparently there are ways to kind of like shave this down and kind of like trim it a little bit, where basically if Ripple's lawyers go over all the information and all the things that the SEC is actually asking for, it's potentially possible to be able to get their penalty, if you will, of $770 million down to around $38 million, which is a significant drop. No news as to if this is going to happen or when this could happen, but the idea that, we've also had this news for the entirety of the year as far as when this lawsuit is going to end. But this would then kind of officially mark the end of the lawsuit. In that, usually whenever a company has to pay the SEC a fine or a penalty amount, usually the SEC kind of stops bothering them because they've paid their dues, if you will. So, cool. How do I say this nicely? Ripple is worth billions of dollars, and I feel like the 770 million would have like stung for a while, but they're also worth billions. And if you pay this off over the course of 10 years, they would have been, wink, relatively fine, as they have tons of money. But then also like 38 million is also cool. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to feel happy for the company or what the general sentiment is supposed to be. It's kind of like whatever, doesn't really matter. Anyway, that's the Ripple might not have to pay an enormous amount of money as a penalty to the SEC? Question mark. When it happens, and then we'll hear about it in the news, and then we can go over it and be like, oh, cool, that guy was correct. The numbers definitely checked out then. Also in popular news for whatever, why is that? Okay, what a weird website. Why is the formatting all over the place? Okay, Fior. Hold on. There we go. That can go away. There we go. Fior Digital GmbH, the company behind 21 Bitcoin, one of Europe's leading Bitcoin platforms, has announced that they have secured a 2.1 million euro financing round, with the funding being provided by, here we go, it has a long name, Volksbank Raiffeisenbank Bayern Mitte EG. Why would your name be so long? I have so many questions. Volksbank Raiffeisenbank Bayern Mitte EG, one of Germany's most established banks, according to a press release sent to Bitcoin Magazine. They said, "We are investing in this company because it has the potential to revolutionize the industry and become a lasting market leader." This was said by Andreas Streb, board member and managing director of Long Name Bank. 21 Bitcoin has succeeded in attracting a generation of customers in Europe with a platform for Bitcoin that is significantly different from the incumbents' offerings. Simpler, more humane, and with a user experience that gives customers the experience they want. End quote. That's a bit intense. It's just a website, dude. Like, I don't know how a website can be more humane. Also very popular news that another German banking corporation giant gave money to a cryptocurrency exchange. Sure, why not? We've seen this happen before. I mean, not in great excess. This isn't like everyday news. But we have gotten news before, like during funding rounds. A lot of times companies have had to be relatively transparent with their funding, like during A funding, B funding, and C funding. And we've seen a lot of times that like people have looked and they were like, oh, it looks like Microsoft also gave some money here as well. It looked like Amazon was also part of this. It looked like this bank was also. So we know that it takes place behind the scenes. It's fairly obvious that as a bank, if you realize that there could be something from this, new thing called cryptocurrencies, you start putting your money everywhere into the sector to see if it's going to grow. You simply do not just buy crypto. You buy multiple other things in a bid to say, if this is around in the next 10 to 20 years, I'll put in my 2 million now. It'll be worth 20 million then. Therefore, we've made some extra money. So yeah, Germany seems to be at the forefront when it comes to like throwing money at the space. Very cool. Not particularly exciting, but this did make also very popular news as well. What's this one right here? Oh gosh. Also in the news, Charlie Munger once again is in popular cryptocurrency, like what's going on news. Berkshire Hathaway's vice chairman, his name is Charlie Munger, recently reiterated his harsh critique of Bitcoin, labeling it as a threat to traditional finance in an interview with the Wall Street Journal. So the idea is, for those of you who, I'm sure you've heard before that crypto is a threat or crypto is terrible or crypto's this. The idea is that Bitcoin creates an entirely different financial system than the one we have now. I'm sure that's fairly obvious to a lot of people, but it does it in a number of different ways. The problem is that the people who made their money from this current system that we have that exploits the poor is that they don't want a brand new system because then they are not as rich as they could have been. It comes down to something even as simple as this. If Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett and all these other people had gotten into Bitcoin the very day it was created and had made billions of dollars from it, do you think they would care about it? Do you think they would say that crypto's evil or terrible or awful? No, they would absolutely love it because it would make them even richer, and they would see the transition from the old system to the new one be relatively easy for them because of the amount that they had actually accumulated. This is why we've seen a large number of very wealthy individuals and billionaires around the world. If you look at the news in 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, talking negatively about crypto, and now they're all into it. They talk about how amazing it is. It's because they've secured enough crypto that if we do hit those fantastic $1 million Bitcoin numbers, their wealth continues to remain. The other idea is that inflation is supposed to be around forever. The system that we have now was created sometime in the 1970s, where the idea was that we no longer need to have small amounts of money circulating through the system, or actually small amounts of printing based off of the amount of gold that we have. The idea is that you create and print as much as you want to continue to enrich the other rich people who are already rich on the planet. The idea of Bitcoin is that it's actually deflationary. So as you see, Bitcoin's inflation rate continues to lower as we have the halvings. It gets cut in half, cut in half, cut in half, cut in half. At some point, the idea is that because that Bitcoin won't inflate and there are so few Bitcoin that will be created, and all the Bitcoin that we have in the future is all that we are going to have, prices will actually begin to go backwards and go down. And therefore you, as an individual, will be more incentivized to actually hold onto your Bitcoin and save. This is the opposite of the current system that we have now, where you are incentivized to spend. It sounds a little dark, but if you think about every single sad moment that we've had over the course of the last 23 years, I'll even give you 22 years, look at what politicians and usually leaders of countries have said. Go out there and spend. You gotta save the economy. Don't worry about saving, or they'll send you checks for you to go outside and then also go spend your money as well. The idea is that you are not meant to save your money. You are not meant to have money. I know that sounds crazy. The idea is that you are, based on this system that we currently live in, you are meant to get in debt. And you are meant to be in debt forever. When you are in debt forever, you give a droplet every single month to a bank or a company or an institution for the rest of your lives. You are meant to continuously, your drops create a gigantic pool of everyone else around you, and all that water basically flows to the banks. In a Bitcoin world, the idea is that debt is supposed to be something nearly non-existent. We know that banks would still issue some kind of debt against Bitcoin. But the idea is that what you have is what you have, and what you earn is what you earn. And year on year, your Bitcoin, your Satoshis would become more and more valuable than they were the previous year. There's a whole bunch of, if you are interested in that actual conversation, there's tons of articles about it, like write about like Google, like Bitcoin deflationary, like why is Bitcoin deflationary? Like you'll learn about it, and the idea is that this is why Bitcoin's so powerful for the average person, and why I keep wanting everyone on the planet to have it before the billionaires have all of it, is because you would essentially become richer and richer every single year. One of the things that like really stuck out to me was that you would walk into a store and see that it would basically cost the US dollar equivalent of like $1,000, and you go, I think I'm gonna wait. And you would wait a year, and you would see that the next year it only costs like $790 or something like that. This is great for the consumer because you get to save more money and therefore become wealthier and have more funds. But for the actual companies, this is why it's a threat to traditional finance. It's because it goes the exact opposite way. You're incentivized to save your money, to have wealth, to have things to pass on to your kids and to your family. The current system that we have is made against that. You are meant to be poor. You are meant to be in debt. You're meant to not actually own anything. This is why the other discussion of these corporations buying up all the real estate. Why do you think no one else, like the only people who are sounding the alarm on this are normal people? Why do you think corporations aren't being like, wait, this is wrong? Because they want to own everything. They want you to be in debt. You're meant to be a renter for the rest of your life and forever, as are your kids. It's a very messed up system. So whenever Charlie Munger or any of these other people are like, oh my gosh, it's such a threat. It's like, no, it's a threat to them. These people who like profited on the backs of billions of other people. And now when billions of other people have maybe found a way to kind of get out of the old system, to get out of the matrix and finally do well for themselves, then it's a problem. It's the same exact thing during the Wall Street bets kind of thing. We've gone over that before as well. If you can find it on YouTube, all these billionaires from back then on CNBC were like, what is everyone doing? Why isn't everyone at home, like with their kids? Like, what are you all doing on the stock market? Because normal people were making money. You're not supposed to. That's why crypto is so important. You are meant to be poor forever. You're not meant to have assets. Munger, the longtime business partner of Warren Buffett, didn't mince words in expressing his concerns about the surging popularity of the cryptocurrency. The 9,000-year-old billionaire investor voiced his concerns regarding the recent rise in Bitcoin's price. He basically said it's terrible. What did he say? It was something nonsensical. Where is it? He said it's a stink ball. Not in a mean way, but you can tell that they're not really from this generation, because they keep using, like, what was Warren Buffett's thing? Rat poison squared, and this one says stink ball. So maybe they just haven't seen all the new curse words on TikTok yet. Anyway, this is also not popular news, but it's all over the place. Whenever Peter Schiff or Munger, or there's also another person, says anything negative about crypto, it ends up being in the news. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but just understand that like you are very early into the new world system. As it looks right now, the rapid adoption of cryptocurrencies kind of tells us that it's going to be around forever. So just understand that when they don't want you in the system, it's because you will get richer from something that they don't want you to have or hold because they want the old system to stay in place. There's a reason why they don't have banks in poor cities or poor towns or in poor countries. Everything is set up for them. Anyway, look into it. It's very, very, very fascinating. That's the Munger news. Sure. Why the fudge not? Yeah. At the moment, XRP is doing exceedingly well. Other coins are down slightly. I mean, Bitcoin is down by 0.20. Like, it's nothing like catastrophic. XRP is up by 10% right now. It is doing extremely well. It is a smidge away from becoming coin number 4. ADA is up by 3.4%. Dogecoin is up by 3.1%. Chainlink is up by 2.2%. Polygon is up by 2.9% as well. Avalanche is up by 2.7%. Lumens is up by 4%. Oh, Lumens. Okay, there we go. Lumens tends to follow XRP because it's very desperate to try and remain relevant in some sort of way. OKB is up by 7%, but they only have $55 million of trading volume. If you put $25 million into that market, it's going to move up as well. Uniswap and Ethereum Classic are also trying to pump. I assume this also because it looks like Bitcoin is also trying to move back up. It's currently, at the time of me making this video, back above 35,000 US dollars. So it logically makes sense that everything else would also be trying to move up as well. Kronos is up by 2 points. I didn't even know what a Kronos is. I'm not going to even try. Aave is up by 6.8. Anything else crazy? Nope. But yeah, Neo, what? Neo is up by 14%. For those of you who don't know Neo, I don't blame you. Neo was created around 2017, 2018. It was meant to be, and I air quote here, the Ethereum of China. I haven't seen Neo in, it's been like years and years and years since I've seen. Wow. I wonder what happened. Maybe something in Hong Kong took place. It could be a lot of different things. I do sincerely hope that you have all enjoyed. I do feel like something really big and fun and good is going to happen this week. I do hope that you all are having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.